Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, GMB Show. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. The Menace was back in the studio on Monday as Mark Lavitt took on a team of 4 hopefuls in a bid to win a cash prize on the ITV quiz show, but Darragh was not impressed. Darragh Ennis didn't hold back with his feedback as a team was brutally beaten on the chase. In the episode that aired on Monday, March 17, contestants Mark, Susie, Tracy, and Aaron tackled a round of challenging questions, aiming to outwit the Menace and secure the cash prize. Impressively, they all reached the final chase, presenting Darragh with the daunting task of facing off against a complete lineup. Despite acknowledging them as a great group, Darragh didn't shy away from telling the quartet they ought to be very disappointed unless they managed at least an 18-point finish in the final round. When the showdown came, the team's ability to answer accurately wasn't the issue. It was their leisurely pace that left them hanging with a final score of just 16. Darragh told them, "You didn't get any wrong, but you didn't get through enough questions. You probably could have got through 5 more questions there if you'd sped up a bit, which would have made this a really tough game for me," he added, reports the Express. He conceded, still a good target though. However, with 33 seconds to spare, Darragh effortlessly caught up to their total, leaving the contestants to ruefully watch their 16,300 pounds prize slip away. Following the showdown, Darragh delivered a curt verdict on the team's shortcomings. He said, "You did everything right on your side up until the very end. You needed to speed up a bit in the final." Darragh had some kind words for the team's efforts at building up the pot and making savvy decisions during the head-to-head phase, but he wasn't shy to criticize their sluggish pace in the final chase. He said, "You were just a little bit slow. An extra 3 or 4 on there, I might start making some mistakes, but it just wasn't a high enough target." The game got off to a flying start, with Mark, a 43-year-old civil servant from Edinburgh, nabbing a cool 6,000 pounds in his cash builder round. He decided to stick with the initial offer and smoothly cruised into the final chase without hitting any bumps. Susie, a 37-year-old photographer from Hemel Hempstead, answered 3 questions in her cash builder. Listening to her teammates, she settled for a modest 300 pounds offer. It was touch and go after a 1-question shootout, but Susie was overjoyed to make it through to the final chase along with Mark. Next to try their luck against Darragh was Tracy, a 55-year-old environmental health officer from Sutton Coldfield, who chipped in another 4,000 pounds to the kitty. Lastly, Aaron, 28, an account manager from London, answered 6 correct answers in his cash builder. He too outpaced Darragh and boosted the team's total winnings to 16,300 pounds. However, despite their valiant effort, the game did not end on a high note, as they ultimately left with nothing. The tension was thick in the studio air as the final seconds ticked away. The team had performed admirably, answering 19 questions correctly in the final chase, and even host Bradley Walsh wore a grin of cautious optimism. But then, as if time itself bent to his will, Darragh the Menace Ennis unleashed a flawless string of correct answers, catching the team with only 1 second to spare. Gasps echoed across the studio. One contestant, Sam, covered his face in disbelief. Another, Rachel, shook her head with a teary smile. They had come so close, but it was over. Darragh Ennis stood tall at the chaser's lectern, his signature dark suit immaculate, his expression unreadable, until he spoke. "Look, I'll give credit where it's due," he began, voice even but laced with steel. "You played a good game, you didn't buckle under pressure, and 19 is a solid score. But," he paused, his eyes flicking to each of the 3 contestants, "you made a fatal mistake." Bradley raised his eyebrows. "Oh, here we go." Darragh leaned forward slightly, his words deliberate. "When you passed on the astronomy question, the one about Saturn's rings, that was your chance to hit 21. You had it in you, but instead of backing yourselves, you froze." The studio audience murmured. Sam frowned. "We didn't want to risk the time." Darragh shook his head. In the final round, playing safe can be riskier than being bold. You gave me a crack, and I took it. It was a stinging verdict, made sharper by the fact that it rang with undeniable truth. Bradley gave a low whistle. Well, if that doesn't haunt you tonight, nothing will. Rachel laughed nervously. We knew the menace would be brutal, but we didn't expect therapy with a quizmaster. Darragh softened just a little bit, a hint of admiration in his eyes. I only point out what could have been better because you were good enough to win. But I don't let good teams win, not without a fight. Backstage later, the team regrouped. Though disappointed, they couldn't deny the thrill of it, the razor-thin finish, the feeling of almost conquering one of the sharpest minds in the country. The nation had witnessed one of the closest games of the series, and social media exploded with praise for the Brave Three. Darragh was brutal, but he was right, Sam admitted in a post-show interview. And if we ever get another chance, we'll remember that Saturn has 82 moons and a ring system you shouldn't pass on. As for Darragh Ennis, he walked away from the studio calm and composed, another victory under his belt, but not without respect. They were sharp, he muttered to a producer, but not sharp enough. And just like that, the menace struck again.